You know, as I said before, I spent a lot of time in Washington with an organization called the Real Estate Roundtable, and it's an organization consisting of industry leaders in real estate, and we interface with the government in an effort to help them with the direction they have with government programs. In particular, in this case, the DOE, EPA, and the U.S. Green Building Council. And I've said from day one, it's my opinion, and that's what they ask for, so I give it freely. And as was said before, sometimes you get what you pay for. The LEED's metrics are not consistent with the return that you get as an owner. And you know, waterless urinals do not provide a return. Green roofs, and I am from Chicago, so I didn't say roofs, do not provide a return on a high-rise office building where the top floor is a mechanical equipment room. So in our effort, and we've done probably more of this than any real estate company in the country. We put 20 cogeneration combined heat and power systems in. We've done a real lot of sustainability things that really had a huge impact, but they all provided a return on investment. And to foster programs that don't penalize companies that use them, and in the end, I don't think that's an incentive to really propagate sustainability. Sooner or later, all these things, I think, will provide a return on investment, but as a public company or even a private company that needs to invest capital and get a return, you have to make the decision to spend that capital wisely. And so to get a LEEDs, to make this a LEEDs building, we would have spent extra capital that would give us zero return. We're 80% there, 85% there. We've saved more than 30% of the energy consumption we would have used, and that was based on a computer simulation, a very detailed computer simulation that, frankly, I ran myself with some of Doug's people, and reduce operating costs by $1 a square foot, utility costs, by making the right decisions, impactful decisions that make sense. So that's possibly an unpopular answer from the sustainability standpoint, but I think, you know, as investors in green, we need to invest in green technology that works. Otherwise, it won't happen.
I'd like to give another answer to Frank's answer, actually, and maybe soften the blow. Midway through the project, I approached Frank for a candid discussion about why we, at this point, shouldn't pursue LEEDs on the existing building program, certainly at 100 Park and 545 Madison, which we were involved in. They were initiated with that program. And what we're doing is fundamentally, and as Rick very clearly pointed out in his presentation, fundamentally a very responsible thing to do. And we were there with everything we're doing, including all of Doug's input on it. And your direct answer then was, we have done it, and to apply now for LEEDs without that having been originally thought, he didn't feel was a deliberate and conscientious effort with regard to that. The building, I think, is one that achieves the fundamental goals of LEEDs and all of our sustainability interest, and the accounting and documentation of that, I think, rightly so, on your understanding of it, was simply not what we had originally set out to do, and therefore, as an afterthought, was not meaningful.
So, Doug, would Taconic have gone for LEED rating without Cook & Foss as your architects?
Well, it's a good question, because I was thinking the story that I was going to tell is when when it first started, Rick came and said, you know, you really need to do LEEDs Platinum, and we said, what's LEEDs? And he said, you need to do LEEDs Platinum, and we said, okay, we'll do LEEDs. And then he said, we need to do LEEDs Platinum, and we said, how about LEEDs Silver? And then he said, I think you ought to do LEEDs Platinum, and that's what we stand today as saying, okay, you know, will you give in if we go to LEEDs Gold? And I can say he hasn't budged. But another interesting thing, I think, when you ask office workers what they really want a secure and safe neighborhood and a building. They want access to retail and amenities. And then what they also say is that they want good air quality. So I think that's another thing that Rick has talked to us a lot about, and I can say from my end of the spectrum that that is very important to tenants. And while it didn't show up on the survey that I just quoted you, I would say that the sort of daylight, the light coming in, is important to tenants, good air quality. Those are the things that people ask about. Those are the things that add value in the leasing equation. LEEDs Gold, Rick. That's it.
So done. Okay, are there any questions from the audience? So you'll shout out or I'll repeat them if there are. Yes.
There was a mention on the Pearl Street location about using fritted glass, and I wondered if the new IAC building on 19th Street, which has made a very big issue about having the fritted glass or some kind of a interlay layer, was a possibility for the reskinning of these Verizon buildings to have more variation in the texture of the glass itself rather than just having it be clear glass.
Yes. As most of us are exploring the clearest possible glass, low iron, clear glass with low E coating on it for performance. One of the best ways we can increase the performance of glass, and it doesn't make Doug that happy when we talk about as much glass as we like to use for daylight penetration for the work environment, is by using opacifiers, tiny ceramic frit dots. The building in New York that has the most prominent ceramic frit is the Frank Gehry IAC building. But many of One Bryant Park makes extensive use of frit. The New York Times building has frit on it also, and 7 World Trade Center also. So this is one of the best tools we could have. If you can just picture this for a minute, the way the human eye works, at the bottom of a piece of glass at One Bryant Park that's up there right now, it's 60% fritted. So that's 60% is no light, pretty much no light transmission. So you're improving that area by almost 60%, really, in simple terms, by reflecting light off a white dot back out. But the human eye works that your eye reads around the dot. So even in the densest part of the frit, you can actually see that somebody's got a yellow shirt on when they walk by. Very, very good tool. And we are using that at 375 Pearl. At One Bryant Park, we tried to make it so that the tenant on the inside wouldn't really feel it. At IAC, the mock-ups were being done at the exact same time. They actually wanted to have it feel fuzzy and get movement. We were working in the exact opposite. We didn't want anybody on the second tallest building in New York to look out and feel dizzy looking through the frit pattern. So we studied a frit pattern for a long time to get it stable. And we're actually working in Doug's building on the exact same thing. But it's one of the best ways to improve the performance of clear glass while maintaining a lot of transparency in and out.
Yeah, just one comment about IAC. We worked on that project, and it has over 90% glass, yet the frit, the contribution of the frit to the performance of the glass allowed the building to meet the energy codes for New York City. And if anybody wants me to explain how we did it, we can do that later on. But frits are an extremely valuable tool for the architects and for the engineers today.
It's actually quite remarkable looking from the inside out. It allows you to change the look of a building, to soften the edge between spandrel and vision, and really soften it, kind of blur the edge, and from the inside really not take it all away from the feel of floor-to-ceiling glass. We'll see much more of it. It's become a tool. Frankly, the reason why so many buildings have it now, it was an extremely expensive technology just a little while ago to do custom silk screen frit patterns. And it's come back into the realm of at least when we bought our glass, $1 a foot, maybe in today's dollars, $2 a foot, which became a reasonable thing to approach clients with. So we'll see much more of it.
We have 1 or 2 minutes remaining before we need to vacate the premises. Is there a last question from the audience?
Please, have you an idea of the total cost of the project on 1095 Avenue of America? And how has glass affected the cost of the project?
Your question was first the total cost of the project?
Yeah, the total cost. And how the use of glass has affected the cost?
The operational cost or the hard construction cost?
Operation and the construction cost.
I think on the operational side, we could all answer it's much more efficient than the building was originally because of the glass that was employed, and simply put on the architectural or the construction cost. And I must say that Benson, who are the curtain wall manufacturer, were very helpful in that. The window wall runs at let's say somewhere around that at the time was $100, maybe $125 a square foot. As Rick mentioned, the deconstruction is an equivalent pounds per square foot as well. So in terms of total project cost, it is one of the larger.
It was, and we had an asbestos problem. We had asbestos on the outside spandrel that normally you could ignore, but because we were in the midst of it with union labor, we had to remove. So that added even more money to the initial cost. On the operating cost side, we did a detailed life cycle study, and the initial savings are over $1 a square foot at the rates we're seeing right now. You're talking about a building that eventually, when the Verizon space comes back, is 1.2 million square feet. So you're talking about operating cost savings of $1.2 million. Now, if you cap that, you can see that that's an incredible value added to the building, both from the standpoint of ownership, but also for the tenants that are paying a lot of those bills. And again, that's not just the glass; that's the combination of everything that we do.
Well, thank you all for the information for this evening. I think between the poles of hard truths and the reality of cold figures and the high ideals of saving the planet, I think we have a good prospect for New York to recycle our buildings and keep our city strong and alive. So thank you for showing us this evening.